Hi, this is Anna Imagination, and I just got up. It's like 9 o'clock. I never sleep this late, so it was a really oh. So I wrote last night. I was writing. I have not written in so long. I played a D&D game yesterday, and I wanted to kind of get the. I wanted to see where my gameplay was and get a feel for the group. I learned a lot and I was able to get a lot of very valuable information before we start the game. And then I had this massive idea come to me. My imagination has been not available for a long time. And it's weird because I'm building this thing and I'm going, I have no imagination. And people are looking at it going, so I need to explain. I I've always had a surplus of imagination, like to the point where it hurt if I did not sit down and pour it out. So it started off with music composition where I would hear music and I would just compose and compose. And I had so much music composition all over. And then the trauma, it's quite a simple psychological formula. Trauma destroys imagination. Bottom line. If you endure too much trauma, you can't imagine. And imagination is really dreaming. It's really it's dreaming, and it's the ability to imagine a future, and that's really it. Trauma just destroys it. And when you heal, you get your imagination back. And it's been coming back to me a little bit at a time. I want to cry because it's been so long since I've had it. It was about 2 weeks ago that I composed a song. It was the first music I've composed in so long. And then in 2015, well, from 2006 and on, I wrote my fantasy series. And then I wrote Broken, which I wrote it all. And then I wrote Zombies from Space. Once I squeezed out Zombies from Space, and Zombies, you can see it. You can see the work I did. When I started Dollar and Shadow in 2006, the world I built was elaborate and extraordinary. And then I did Broken in 2015. And then in 2016, I wrote Zombies from Space. And if you look at the quality of my writing, as far as just the quality of my writing, from 2016 to 2006, a 10-year gap, it really, I don't like Zombies from Space because of this reason, because the quality for me is so low. And I was not able to write anything since. I have 3 books, Berrigan, Berrigan Blind, Berrigan Broken, Berrigan Bound, that I was supposed to write, so says Berrigan, and it never happened. And then I had all these ideas. I had short stories. I had the rest of the Dollar and Shadow series, never happened. And then I had Zombies from Space and Vampires, Fists in the Dark, never happened. I just couldn't write. And I went, well, I'll just accept it. Apparently, my writing just, that period of my life is over. So I closed the door, focused on my healing, and writing is something that I just assumed never came back to me. And then when I did the Dungeons and Dragons game, that was, oh my God, it was so much fun. And that was full writing again. But it was very, very small amounts. It was definitely nothing to the scale in which I was writing Dollar and Shadow. So I got to this point with everything just, my imagination was definitely capped. And I was building this world recently, and it's just falling into place. It's absolutely stunning. And I got off the Dungeons and Dragons game last night, and I went, all right, if I'm going to do this game on the broadcast, I'm going to have to really kick up my game. And I realized the best way to do it was to, it just came to me. It was beautiful. So it's called the Oracle, the Bard's Oracle. And it's a spin-off of my fantasy series. But there's a lot more to it. There's so much more to it. So much more. So oh my God, I could not believe what I wrote last night. It was the same stuff I used to write back in 2006. It was that quality. It was duller in shadow. And I wrote out this chapter 1. I wrote out the prologue, and then I wrote out an author's note for people who are coming in late to the story. And I explained what I'm doing in detail. It's all on my website, my author website, angelabchrysler.com. And that's in my Linktree account. So I put all that together, and it was extraordinary. And then I was up until 1 a.m. writing, or midnight last night writing, which is something I used to do. I used to write at night. I forgot. I would be up until 1 a.m. writing. And then, which is why I'm so late getting up today. And it just all clicked back to me. It's okay. I'm going to be writing every day again. So I'm really, really excited because I do podcasting in the morning, and then I'll do the Dungeons and Dragons, and then I'll be writing. But oh my God, I'm just so, so excited. So the Bard's Oracle, I can't explain it, and I'm not going to explain it here. But and then I was thinking about my schedule. I have my 5 pillars of the city that fell into place, and I woke up to 2 comments on my channel this morning, and they really warmed my heart. And I never really thought of it. I'm me. I'm just always me. And then he commented about my perspective. He's like, it's extraordinary. He goes, every time you have an obstacle, you view that as, oh, an opportunity to grow. And I'm like, well, the universe, and I never thought of it. I never thought of it that way. I just, I see challenges as you're either in a position to learn or you need to listen. You're not listening. And that's it. An obstacle is when you're not listening. Or if you want something and you have to wait, you have a lesson to learn. And his comments were just they put a lot of attention on something about me that I never realized before. And when I take this lesson, when I use this concept, it really does a lot to get me excited for what's to come. And this is the other thing, is when you're going through a bad point, a C drop is what it's called in psychology. It's always worse just before it gets better. And it's not my imagination, and this isn't perspective. This is fact. This is psychological, documented. Everyone does this. This is how we grow. You have the A point, the B point, the C point, and then the D point. Always. So you'll be going along in life, and then you'll hit a bad spot, and that's called the C drop, because it drops you down into this bad moment. And you could be in the C drop for a while. The longer you're in the C drop and the deeper the C drop, the better you're jumping up to D every time. Which means if you can get through C, you have some awesome shit happening. And because this is basically where growth happens. This is where growth happens. So it's you've learned the lessons, and then you basically stump. This is where I say you're not listening to the universe anymore, or you have too much perspective in you from other people. And then you're in that C drop. And the lesson is, be true to yourself. Always be true to yourself. Completely kick out everybody who isn't you. This is when you need to be alone. You get alone, you do a perspective cleanse, and you take in what needs to change in your life. This is the changing point. And then once you realize what it is, you make the change, you purify your perspective, you prioritize yourself, you listen to the universe, and it jumps you back up to D. And D is always higher than the B point. So there's growth. So every time I get into the C point now, my immediate response is always, oh, yay, I've got something good coming. Every time. And it's just a matter of getting through the C drop. So I have the city in place. I put together the newsletters. It's called the Crier's Courier. I love it. I researched, oh, it's been so long since I've researched Post. I went back way back and researched the history of Post. And then I found my comment about Plato and the ship of state. So I don't like to call it a government, because government means to govern people. And I don't believe that people should be governed. I believe in self-government. You should be self-governed. A person should be taught how to self-govern. You should not be using rules to keep a person in check. Teachers, parents, government. You should not be using rules to keep people in check. People need to learn how to keep themselves in check. Mothers, fathers, teachers, government. Make sure you teach your children how to self-govern. That way, you don't need the rules. Ethics will take care of it for you. That being said, you still need management, societal management. And I'm sitting here going, how do I do societal management? So I'm researching it all, trying to figure out the name. And I found the ship of state. And I went, oh my God. According to Plato, it takes, wait for it, it takes a philosopher king, or in my case, a queen, to, to do this. And he explains why it should be a philosopher. And I was just, oh my God, I love Plato. Plato and I are like, yes, he's one of my husbands. Plato is one of my husbands. So I'm like putting together this society. I have the ship of state, and then I've got the 4 pillars within the city, authenticity city. So here are the 4 pillars. We have basically the healing department, and that's where the healing garden is. That's the Triadic healing. That's actually in the dead center of the city. That's like the courtyard. And then we have the playground. That is where I am most of the time. That's the imagination. That is absolutely basically play, because it's such a massive part of human health. And that was the whole point of this video, is actually me wanting to talk about that, which I'll get back to that in a minute. And then the third one is education, the ability to learn, and just education. So then I have my university. And then there is, I love this part, self-purpose and your resources. So it's the relationship of your self-purpose and your resources. And that's business. That's business. But it's not business in the sense of get a job. And it's not a business in the sense of what's your career going to be. It's self-purpose. It's your calling. And this is where there's like tiers. When you are a foundational, we think in the mindset of, oh, what's your job? And that's work. And that's not fun for anybody. That's work literally means to do without pleasure. Play means to do with pleasure. And then the next thing, career, is when instead of that 9-to-5 job, that's more the entrepreneur mindset. That's the perspective 5 mindset. But then when you get into perspective 6 and 7, it's a calling. And that's where you start thinking about, what is your self-purpose? What are your resources? How can you use your resources and your self-purpose to contribute into your community, to give back? So it's very giving oriented. It's very self-purpose oriented. And it's also very, your resources are being utilized. And when you combine these 3 qualities, giving, self-purpose, and resources, it locks in this massive, gorgeous manifestation, chakra, cesspool, not cesspool, but just giving pool of confidence and restoration. It's absolutely beautiful. So there's that. And then, so going back to imagination, imagination is basically the entertainment realm. And that would be restaurants. That would be the play. That would be, and it's anything you can think of. It's the creativity. The creativity is a huge part of it. So you have the healing, the creativity, the self-purpose and resourcefulness, and then the education. So cultivators would be over in the, they would, and those are the 4, I almost want to say it's like the 4 parts of a person's personality. And basically healing is making sure that your mental health is stable, making sure that you're at optimum mental wealth. And then your education is for people who seek to grow. So you have your health, and then you have your growth, you have your creativity, and then you have your purpose. And when you have those 4 elements of a person together and balanced, you flourish. That is optimum mental health. So Authenticity City literally revolves around these 4 pillars, so that whichever area of the garden of the city you want to get into, there's a resource there for you. And the reason why it's an abstract city, this is the best part, is abstract forces you to use your imagination. You can't be in the city unless you are utilizing your creativity and your imagination, which is where Dungeons and Dragons comes in with the role playing, where it absolutely magnifies and cultivates, nurtures that part of us. And for adults, oh my God, adults need imaginative play. And we have been so deprived. It is a core part of our healing and who we are. So I went to bed last night and I woke up at my usual 2, 3 a.m. with the universe talking to me. And I had this realization that imagination is how I'm supposed to heal people or give to people to provide them. It's through imagination that the world will heal. So I have this story, and this ties into the Bard's Oracle, where I'm going to be like laying out an interactive story so that through the Bard's Oracle, people are going to be able to cross realms from the physical to the abstract. And it's going to be it's a blog novel, so you can go ahead and start with prologue. It's already there, and then from there I'm going to be writing up the gameplay, and then part of the chapters are going to be performed live in D&D on Thursdays and Tuesdays, and then from there it flips back over and we're going to do the next part of it. I am so excited. I got to think about this. Yeah, it just clicked. All of it clicked into place beautifully. Like it clicked into place so beautifully. I'm like going through all of it and it's just, this is me talking to the universe now going, okay, what's next? What's next? I'm supposed to put together my schedule. My schedule. Where do I want to be? And what I see is the philosopher's fountain. It's like the philosopher's lounge. That's what I see, is basically an open space where people can come in and talk to me about pretty much anything. It's open door, and it's members only. And it's going to be an empty stage. That's what it is. It's just an empty stage. Yeah. Yeah. Improv night. There it is. I've been waiting for it. I'm like, I see it. What is it? What's the name of it? Improv night. Monday nights are going to be improv night, basically, where it could be triadic healing, it could be philosophy, it could be Q&A. There's always going to be Q&A, but it's open dialogue. It's everything. So yeah, improv night, and that is fully the philosopher's fountain on his lounge. And basically, what we see a lot of this is, yeah, we see this a lot. I'm wondering if Tuesdays are too much. I'm really wondering if Tuesdays are too much because I'm doing 2 nights of Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm looking at that going, ooh, maybe I should cut it back to 1 night. So let's go ahead and I gotta rethink my schedule and shuffle things. Yeah, I'm thinking Thursday nights only. Let's cut it back to 1 game. I'm gonna have to talk to the team and talk to people. All right. Um, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it that way. I had a team of Dungeons and Dragon players where they were, and I know what it was now. The player, the primary player, was my partner, was my then husband, and he was horribly abusive. And I did not realize how much that carried over into his gameplay, so that he bulldozed and bullied everyone, including me, during the games. And I didn't realize it because I was so abused at that point. So that he was actually running the game. And last night I was in game and he wasn't there. It was the first time I played a game without him. And I got to see it unfold without him present. And I was like, wow. It was a wake-up call of just how abused I was and how much he controlled gameplay. And it put things very much into perspective of how I was going to need to manage and juggle the team, which is fine, but it was also a wake-up call for me on how abused I was. So, um, all of the over exuberant control in the game that I was expecting to not have is suddenly very much there, which means the game is going to go in a completely different direction. So we're going to go ahead. I think I'm going to change that definitely. Um, all right. All right. So I'm going to do that. We're going to cut it back to just Thursday nights, I believe. Yeah. I'm going to talk to the universe and see how I feel about that. So, but this week is the first week where everything's clicking into place, falling together. It's feeling good. I need to write a game and put a game together. Yeah, I need to put a game together. So thank you so much. And if you want information on Authenticity City, the Healing Garden, go and grab the link below. And if you love shit like this, like, subscribe, follow. Comment below. Let me know what part of the show resonated with you. And may the kindest of words always find you.